Hey guys, Danny Johnson here, and it was a beautiful day, so decided it would be a great day for a project, so we're going to be putting some pegboard up. Now, I already have some pegboard up in the garage, and I really like it, but if you notice with pegboard, you have to have a spacer here in the back of it. It's a little tricky because if you put it flat against the wall, the hooks will not go in. So to get one of these hooks to go in and then down, you have to make sure you have enough space. And so what I really like about these Irwin sheets is that they're already thick, so the hooks will go right in, and so you don't have to worry about that. So this is built for basically a store if they're going to do a display with these. And so sometimes you can find them for sale. I'll put a link in the description for some of these, and that way it's an affordable way to do pegboard. So we made our space here in the garage, took everything off of the walls, all the pictures and everything, and pulled the car out and got our wall ready to go. So the first thing we wanted to do was come in and find the studs. So we have our stud finder, and everywhere that we found a stud, we went ahead and marked it. Once we had all the studs marked, we went ahead and got our tape measure and double checked every 16 inches. That's typically where the studs should be. And so this looked pretty good, but we just wanted to verify that everything looked good. After that, we got our laser, and I have a video on this and how it works, so check the video description if you want to see how this laser works. And it's really nice. It has a horizontal and a vertical line. So once we lined it back up to where the studs were marked, I then took a pencil and drew a nice straight edge here to mark where that stud goes all the way up. So it's very helpful with the laser just to move it to each of the studs. It is a little more difficult using the pegboard because it's 3D-ish, so it comes out so the lines aren't exactly in the same place. But anyway, next we took our bit here, put it into our little impact gun, and we were going to put some screws in, and we wanted to basically line this pegboard sheet back up. So we adjusted the laser so that it was on the side of it, and then if you looked into the pegboard hole, that's where you could see the line for the studs, because we obviously want to drill it into those. So if you look down in there, you can see we got it right where the line is, but not all the pegboard will match up on these holes. So we will have to go through and drill some extra holes in the pegboard, which didn't take a lot of effort because it's just plastic. So we got it lined up, and we put a screw in the top and the bottom, but you also want to leave those screws somewhat loose so we can adjust this up and down and side to side to get everything to line up. So don't put them in all the way. So we went through with our drill, and this was just a 3/16 inch one, and just drilled everywhere where the stud should be going through. So once we got the panels up, we did have to put some screws in some of the other panels so that they would be level where they were not going into a stud. But we did want to make sure that the majority of the screws we put in go into studs, and you don't want to have too many loose screws going into random places either where they could hit wires or water or anything like that too. Keep in mind too that these panels have to be able to be pulled outward because they slide in from behind. So you have to slide the new panels up from behind and in. So even though you're putting the screws in now, don't tighten them down all the way. We went through and made sure everything was level going all the way through, and again we had it loose enough that we could pull these forward and then put the new ones behind it. And what we will do is hold these in place and then tighten them down one at a time to make sure everything lines up perfectly level again so that it's nice and straight. So with the top row pretty much secured, but still loose enough to put these other panels in from behind, we went ahead and assembled all of the panels that are going down below it, and we're just putting them on as sheets. However, we did have an outlet that we needed to take care of. So we put our laser here, and so what we did was draw where the laser would be on the panel, which was at the bottom of the outlet and going up the side. And after we had that marked up, we basically went through and removed the panel, moved the laser over to the other side, and then did the same thing. Just drew a basic outline of where the outlet was going to go. So this is kind of a rough estimate here, and then what we'll do is we will take the outlet cover off and then use it to trace around. And so now we have a nice little box here of where we want to cut it out. So we have our safety glasses because we're going to be using an angle grinder, and the angle grinder isn't going to do too great of a straight line, so we're just basically cutting into it enough to where we'll get a Sawzall on there. And as you noticed, even the angle grinder would melt this plastic, and as it spewed out, I had to chip those pieces off later, so you want to be careful of this, but it's just a way to kind of get in there. Then was the Sawzall, it did a really good job just to go in a straight line. It's hard not to overshoot, so just make sure that you're cutting it only as much as you need to. And so after we had each area cut straight down, we were able to put the piece up and then just pop it out. So we had our nice little area for the outlet that was cut out of there. Now as we went through, we wanted to pop everything into place once all the sheets were there. And then we want to line it up very carefully. So we're starting from one side and going over, putting the screws in and making sure that's all level, then going down each column and then making sure that everything else lines up. So you might have to lift some panels to get them so that they line up, but it's very easy to do. The lines are all the same, so you just make sure it's all squared off and looking good. So we just went through and put screws where all the studs were going all the way down and a few other fastener screws there, but it turned out really well. I'm really happy with it. It's a big area, and these kits are actually pretty affordable for pegboard if you find it. So this is a display. It's meant to be put in stores, but if you can find a good deal on it, then it makes a really nice home addition for the garage, and you can put some of the kits together and get it as big or as small as you want. And the hooks it comes with will obviously be for selling things. However, you can use them. I just went through and cut off where the sale price would be. And on some others, I just used it for the vice grips to lock onto. So you can get creative and find ways to use the hardware that it comes with, because pegboard hooks can be pretty expensive in kits. $10 for smaller ones here and there. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please check the video description. I have more videos that are similar to this. And feel free to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thanks, guys.